Financial gurus have been saying this for 30 years. Stop buying coffee. Invest that money instead. Do it for 40 years, and you'll have over $700,000. Now, that number is real. The math actually works. But there's something they never tell you about who that advice was written for. In 1999, a financial advisor named David Bach wrote a book called The Automatic Millionaire. He introduced a concept he called the Latte Factor, the idea that small daily spending habits are silently destroying your ability to build wealth. The example was simple: $5 a day on coffee, $35 a week, $1,800 a year, invested at a 10% annual return over 40 years, that's $728,000. Bach wasn't lying. The math is correct, but math and reality are not the same thing. Here's the first problem. The median American household spends about $2,400 a year on coffee and cafe visits. In the same decade that number barely moved, housing costs went up by over $12,000 a year. You would have to go completely coffeeless for 5 full years just to offset a single year of rent growth. The latte isn't the leak, the roof is. Second, that 10% return, that's the S&P 500's historical average. Before inflation, before taxes, and assuming you never panic sold during a crash. Adjust for real inflation, you're closer to 6 or 7%. At 7%, your $700,000 becomes $400,000. Still an incredible number, but it required 40 years of perfect, unbroken discipline. No job losses, no medical bills, no emergencies. The math assumes a life that most people don't have. And here's the real problem. The people being told to skip the latte often can't invest the $5 in the first place. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, and roughly 60% of Americans say they are, $5 saved isn't $5 invested. It's $5 toward next month's electric bill, or one copay, or half a tank of gas. The latte factor doesn't fail because the math is wrong. It fails because it assumes the biggest problem in your finances is what you're choosing to spend, not what you're structurally unable to save. Here's the part nobody mentions. While you've been debating a $5 coffee, someone else has been running the exact same compounding logic, and it is working spectacularly. A typical hedge fund or asset manager charges around 2% annually to manage your money. On a $10 billion fund, that's $200 million per year, every year, whether the market goes up or down. The latte factor, but for the people managing your retirement account, small percentages, enormous base, perfectly compounding, guaranteed. That's the yacht, not your coffee. Now, to be fair to Bach, the underlying idea is genuinely one of the most powerful concepts in personal finance. Small, consistent habits, automated, repeated over decades. This works. This works. The compounding is real. The problem isn't the principle, it's the target. Telling someone drowning in rent to skip their one daily comfort and invest $5 isn't financial advice. It's a distraction from harder conversations about wages, housing policy, and healthcare costs. But if you do have margin in your budget, automate $100 a month into a low-cost index fund. Don't think about it. Don't touch it. In 30 years at 7%, that's $121,000. It's not a yacht, but it's real money. And it didn't require a single sacrifice. The latte factor didn't make you poor, but the same compounding math that was supposed to save you is quietly making someone else very, very rich. Next week, how much of your paycheck your boss is actually taking home, and the economic theory used to justify it. Subscribe so you don't miss it.